wake up one day and find my heroes like Norm Geisbers and Pat Martin and Curly Johnson, Bob Myrick, and find yourself in the same category. It's pretty surreal and it's pretty humbling. And I have to tell you, I enjoyed very much the going to ASCA this year and being part of that. I have to admit, it really was nice. It was really nice. Yeah, well, you know, I think that my experience in school counseling all these years, I always felt like we didn't quite have a solid foundation on which to stand. We were a little of this. We even went through the Sid Simon, you know, with values clarification. We went through a lot of different modes and means to try to get to where we are now. And now I just feel like with TSC, it really does give us the foundation. We know our place in the school. We have a common language, and that language, the thing I really like about it is the common language that we have in school counseling is also the common language of other educators, like principals and teachers, and it's very empowering. I've never been more hopeful about the future of this profession than I have as a result of TSCI helping us see that connection that we really do have, that we've never even articulated as clearly as we should have, to the academic success picture. So that, I think, is, to me, was the biggest, the richest piece that came out of that, but also the equity piece, because we know that we've been leaving behind traditionally underserved kids, and yet we didn't really think of it as our business so much that we had to, that's an ethical piece. We have to stop doing that. We have to be that voice in the school, that social justice voice. So, you know, I love where we are now. I think we're really on the right track, and we're just going to continue to grow that, I hope, and I hope no backward movement. I really think that we have to do a much better job of positioning ourselves in those key conversations. I think we're still reluctant to do that. And if we can position ourselves in those key conversations that happen with principals and teachers, because every survey you look at, every research piece, we always hear that the principal is the key. The principal is the key to helping us achieve what we want. And I think that our comfort level is still very comfortable with working with maybe 5–10% of the student population, whereas I think we have to push ourselves out of that comfort level and figure out how to be more part of the fabric of that school. And those conversations with principals and teachers is going to help us get there, I think. So I don't think we're there yet. I believe if you polled every single school counselor in America, you would find that the not vast majority, but the majority are still doing business as usual that we had going on 20 years ago. I just don't think, even though we feel this critical mass and we feel we're moving forward, I still think in many, many cases, especially in, you know, our high schools where there's so many pieces that the scheduling pieces and the college applications and those, you know, more practical pieces still are taking the priority to maybe more raising aspirations. You know, I don't think we're there yet. We're moving, but we're not there yet. We are our biggest barrier. We still, you know, and I love school counseling. It's, you know, it's been my life, but I still think we have a posture of helplessness in many respects. We still, and I know that the principal, the counselor, believes and understands that the principal is a key component. But if we have the right conversations with principals, if we really push in the right direction and by all means bringing data to the conversations in the table, I think that we can push past some of these barriers, because I do believe that we feel that as school counselors we're limited in the political arena. We're limited by how much our voice can be heard, by how much we really want to, actually how much we really want to connect to the academic achievement piece. It's a scary thing. And I do believe that we are limited in most cases by our own fears, and pushing forward, changing the status quo. What I would love to see this profession do is, I would love to see us, and we certainly haven't figured this out in our program, so I'm not, I'm not saying we've got it right, but how do we figure out who are the people that should be in this business in the first place? Who are going to have that social justice heart, who are going to have those personal social conscious skills that are going to allow them to rock the status quo. And because, teachers like their comfort level, and principals need the utilitarian things done, and they need the reports completed, but how do we get the right people in this profession in the first place, and make sure that we only graduate those people who are going to be real advocates. And that's a piece that I don't see us struggling with enough in this profession. And I wish that we would struggle with it more. You don't read about this very much in the journals about, who are we admitting and what are we looking for? What are the qualities? And, this is something that I wish that this profession would really seize hold of in the next decade, and see what we could do about all of us in counselor education, figuring out who to let through the, this is one time we need to be gatekeepers. Who do we let through the door and then put out in those schools for, these school districts have to live with these people for 30 years, and how do we do a better job of this?